All right, now that we have our units and our different layers properties set, we're ready to actually start the drawing. As I look at the what I'm given in the text for the pivot arm, uh, there are many ways that we can approach these problems. Depending on the drawing tools that you are most familiar with and want to use, depending on how you're looking at and interpreting the geometry that's shown in there. So I'm going to show you several different steps that I might use, and to help you kind of get the feel and the layout of using the tools in the system. And I'm also going to give you some what we call construction geometry type applications to help you also further understand how to go about to build and develop drawings as you start to work with them. So looking at that print, we definitely see that we've got some center lines. We definitely have endpoints and centers for the circles. If you're looking at that, we have several circles that we can draw some arcs on there, some straight lines, some tangency points on there. And in order to start building this, I think I'm going to start with some center lines to help give me some places to build from. So I'm going to activate my center line layer, and I'm going to go up to my line drawing tool. The first thing I'm going to do is draw a horizontal line on my x-axis. So when I do that, you'll see it says specify first point. So my first point, I'm going to go -5, comma 0. Now, in this version of AutoCAD, it's a little different from the full version. You physically have to type in the coordinate point like you would in your math class, where you give it the x value, comma, the y value, and then I can hit enter. Now, notice the line length that comes up with this command is 311 with where my cursor is. So I'm way zoomed out. Now I can either draw my line at this point, or I can kind of push the roller track and kind of move in and try to zoom in on that a little bit more to kind of get it set a little bit more. So I'm going to now that I'm kind of zoomed in a little bit more, we know I'm going to say this line is going to be a 10-inch line, tab 0 degrees, and enter. Right click confirm to get out of it. Now, so let's zoom in a little bit more on that line. So my roller track is kind of messing up, so bear with me. So now I've got that 10-inch line. You'll see here's my origin point. The end point here is -5, 0. The end point here is 5, 0. I'm going to do the same thing with a line on the y-axis. So come back in here. Now in this case, my x is going to be 0, comma, my y will be +5, and I'll hit enter. And I'm going to come down. This is going to be a 10-inch line, so I'll type in 10, tab 90 degrees. So more or less, I'm just kind of doing some lines on the axis. So right click confirm to get out of that. And the other center line that I see is the line coming down here. Now, we're going to use, we know coordinate points of the center circle and that hub. We know the coordinate points of the circle that's to the right of the drawing. We don't really know the exact coordinate points of the lower left-hand circle. We're given a line length and a degree. Now we know that we could go ahead and kind of write that point using relative coordinates, but sometimes it might be easier to just go ahead and use some construction geometry, in this case our center lines, to help us get the point that we need. In this case, we need the end point of the center line to give us the center point of that circle. And here's what I mean by that. So I'm going to come in with my line drawing tool. I'm going to say 0, 0 for that first point. And now I'm going to come down here. Now notice my line length in this case is 6.5. And I'm going to tab to my degrees. Now, because we know something about geometry and we know what the difference is between complementary and supplementary angles here, on our drawing it's given us 45, and it's referencing it off of the negative x-axis, but our AutoCAD is referencing it off of the positive x direction here. So we know then that 180 minus 45 is 135 degrees. So I'm going to type that in with and place that. Now, right click confirm to get out of it. Now I know now that the endpoint at this of this line in the center line is where I'm going to draw the circle for. So we are ready to start drawing our object lines. Remember, we're currently drawing on the center line layer. So let's go back up here and activate the object line layer so that we can draw on that. I'm going to first start with those small 3-inch diameter circles. So circle drawing tool. First thing it wants is the center point. Now notice we have several different tools here, not as many in the full version, but enough for us to get these drawings. So we have a 3-point circle, a 2-point circle, the tan radius circle, and it also gives us the circle radius tool as well. So I'm going to type in 0 tab 0 for the center of that circle. Now notice it's wanting the radius of this circle, and in this case our diameter is 3. So notice to the right of the drawing you've got that leader line showing 3 times diameter of 3. So that means our radius here is going to be 1.5. I'm going to type in enter. Now I can right click, repeat last command. So, or I can go to the circle tool. Either way, that's up to you. So I'm going to go right ahead now and place the other one at that center. So 0, 0, enter. And in this case, that larger diameter circle is a 6-inch diameter, but again, we're using the radius here, so we'll type in 3, and I have that one. Now, let's go ahead and use the circle tool again here. We're going to put that circle that is to the right. We know that coordinate, so that coordinate is 6.5, 0. So enter to place this, and now again we're at 1.5, the diameter of that, and we've got that outside radius there too. So if I go right click, repeat last command, and now at this point we've got the center auto snap there, so I can click on the auto snap, and in this case a 2.5-inch radius is actually what we're given, so I can say 2.5 is my radius. Come down in there and you've got that. Notice if that object snap, when you're in it, if it's not giving you the object snap, it's because your object snap isn't turned on. So notice down here where it says object snap, if I left click on that, it turns off auto snap. So now if I wanted to go and create the circle, it's not going to pick up on any of those object snaps because I got object snap turned off. So let's go ahead and turn it back on. Now it picks up on the auto snaps that I have selected. Which auto snaps do I have? This arrow right here. We've got endpoint, center, and tangent, which are the ones that I want for this drawing. You can at any time come back down and toggle these on and off to put whichever ones you want. So those are good to go. So I'm going to click back outside of that, and now the last circle is going to be on this endpoint. So, and again, we got the 3-inch diameter circle, that's the smaller one there. So I'm going to, the radius of that is 1.5, enter, got that. I also have that arc that goes out from that too. So we'll go ahead and repeat the last command here, come back in there. That is a 2.5 radius, so 2.5, and I've got that going. So now we have those 3 lines coming in at that point. So, and we're good to go. Next line that we need to kind of take care of here, let's go ahead with the line. I'm going to come in from the top of this circle. So now notice the line and the tangency point is right there. We don't have an auto snap in this case to or an object snap turned on. So if I go down here, I want you to think about right now, which one of these object snaps could I use to pick up on this point right here, the very top at 90 degrees and the very bottom at 270 degrees, which object snap would work for me to pick up on that? Well, as we look through, it's not going to be midpoint or intersection, apparent intersection, or geometric center. The one that we have to use here is going to be quadrant. So I'm going to click on quadrant, and now notice it picks up on that 90-degree point of that arc. So quadrant, and this is just going to come over here. I don't really have to worry too much about the line length here because we're going to trim it out. But what I do have to worry about is that I am at the right degree angle, which is 180 degrees. So, and I'll say 180 degrees, enter. So, oh, it didn't work. So let's try it again. So go back here. So pick up on that quadrant, move it over. I'm going to go tab 180. Tab just to kind of see. So our line is there. Now, rather than use enter, I'm going to left click to place that line. Right click to confirm and get out of it. I'll right click, repeat the last command. We're going to come down here and do the same thing. I'm going to left click there. We're going to move it over. I'm going to hit tab, make sure that I'm at 180 degrees. Hit tab just to confirm, and then we're going to right. Oh, notice I messed up on the angle. So let's go ahead and hit escape twice to get out of that command. I don't want that. So if you weren't paying attention, go back and watch that. Notice that when we placed this, we were too close to that tangency point, so it kind of picked up the tangency point instead. So this is oftentimes, let me delete this, when you are in your object snap, sometimes you might have to toggle some of these on and off so that they don't pick up on you like that one just did. So let's go back to the line drawing tool, pick up my quadrant, coming back over. Now notice it can pick up on this quadrant too, so this is why it's going to be really, really critical for you to use the right keying sequence here, 180. If I hit enter there, the enter button on my keyboard doesn't work in this case, unlike the way it does on the full version. So we got to use the right keying sequence. So line tool, quadrant, we're going to bring this over to here. I'm going to tab to 180, and then I'm going to left click to place the line. So make sure we're 180, tab back over. So now we're in that line. And don't get close to any of the other object snaps. Make sure it's not setting on those. Right click or left click to place, right click confirm to get out of it. So now I've got that section of this drawing taken care of. So I'm going to come back now to my, in this case, we're up in our modify toolbar here. I'm going to trim. Now, you're used to, and this week you use the erase tool. There's a difference between trim and erase. If I hit erase, it's going to get rid of the whole entity. In this case, I only want to get rid of part of the entity. Remember, we talked about squares or rectangles being 4 lines. If you use the square tool, it's 1 entity. If you use the line drawing tool to create the rectangle, it's 4 entities. So right now, I'm going to use the trim tool. I'm trimming this out. And we also have this to trim out. Notice how it trimmed out to that center line. So I'm going to show you, if we didn't want to do that, we could have turned the light switch off on the center lines and it would have trimmed the whole thing instead of that. But it's just as easy to go back and trim the other stuff there too. So we are there in this regard. So now we only have a couple more lines to do in terms of these 2 lines here, and then some trimming out to go on that, and then we'll be finished with this drawing. But I'm going to pause for just a second, and I'll come back. So I want you to take a minute and kind of think about how we finish this off. So now that we are back thinking about this kind of presents us with some challenges. We have to draw a line that has a endpoint and an intersection point someplace along this circle going up somewhere above here. And we can see that on the drawing, we do know that the endpoint is